Thanks for joining us. In this video, we've got components arriving and materials. We're getting started on the installation of several things and started on the compartments for, say, the refrigerator, and also working on the area of the water heater. So we're making progress, we're going the right direction. We're putting things in, not taking things out. So this is a good turning point. I like this. I started building the compartment for the new refrigerator, and the original trailer had two boards, which I have since thrown in the garbage, but they were just 1x4s going from here across there and there, and then the rest of it was wide open. The compartment for the refrigerator needs to be sealed off so that there's no carbon monoxide. So this board's gonna go here, and this one's gonna go here, partly to give the strength, and then there's gonna be a sheet of plywood going over top of there, which I've got right there, and the corners cut out for those pieces of framing in the corner. But before I got looking at that, this is the original piece of structure going across here that these boards are mounted on. And I've added these pocket screws. Before that, all this was stapled to the paneling that's behind this insulation. So I added these two boards, but I'm gonna pull this board right out of here because it does not fit tight, and there's going to be a fair amount of weight on this board. And then the other thing is, this board does not actually meet the floor or secured to the floor. This one's secured to the floor. So, and then these are just fillers. So I'm going to put some uprights here as well, so that we've got, although not direct, we've got a lot more support holding up that refrigerator. Also, now the way I'm building these, everything, the sidewall is going to help a little bit as well. And before I get started on all that, because I've got the best access right now, I'm going to wash the inside of this because it's dirty. And then also, you can see this, I don't know, maybe you can't see it. There you can see some movement there. That wall's not secured to the floor, or at least the paneling. So I'm going to put some structure on the outside right here, and then screw that to the floor, and then it'll be much stronger. I'm going to use spray foam in here. It was just this board here and this board here. I'm going to seal these with spray foam. I've removed the fresh air intake for the furnace. We'll seal that hole up. That was where the propane line was coming through. We'll seal that up, and when I run the propane line for the appliances that are going in here, I'll pick a better location. And then in the earlier video, probably one of the first ones, I showed that the refrigerator that was in this trailer was not the original refrigerator. And the original refrigerator is probably straight propane, so whoever's put in that other refrigerator put in an electrical outlet. And there's a couple things I don't like about it. First of all, that's a residential electrical outlet, and the back of it's exposed to the outside underneath the trailer, so when you're driving, water could be sprayed into your electrical outlet. But as I was removing it, that board's in the way, but that is a nail, not a screw. So just keep finding interesting things. So that's what I'm starting on today, and we'll see where that takes you. So the electrical line going to the plug-in I was showing you just a bit ago comes up here and goes up into the trailer, and then this board is holding it in place, and I want to remove it because I'm putting in a whole new electrical system. And yeah, that board's just sitting there like that. So Let's see if we can get it out of here. Ah, thing of beauty. Hammer put to good use. And to install that custom fit board, they used all these custom fasteners pounded through the middle of the floor. Guess they didn't care because it was covered in carpet before. Oh, that's a little cleaner. Might need another wipe with cleaner water because that's what the water looks like now, and this rag used to look like that rag. So, but it makes it much nicer to work in there. You've seen me use this drill guide to put the pocket holes in the boards that are already on the trailer, but the new boards that I attach, this is much faster and easier to use. It's a bigger setup, makes it go quite fast. Speaking of equipment I use in the shop, this is the tool I hope to use the least. And just to make everything stronger, I use glue wherever possible, even down there. So this is the compartment I cleaned the other day, and we've got all the foam caulking in there along the edge of the wall and around the wheel well, so there shouldn't be any more problem with dust leaking. What they're trying to prevent with the rags stuck in there. We saw that in a previous video. And then we've got the box itself, and maybe this is why if you're looking at a used trailer where somebody's done some of their own work, you need to look close. Those wires are not secured in any way. And then the third wire, you can see that's, I guess, the ground wire. It goes in the box, back out the box, and wrapped around. It's not grounding anything. And also you'll notice this is just what's supposed to be used inside a residence, not outside. And you can see all the corrosion on it from the being outside and exposed to the weather. So there would have been moisture getting in there anytime they were driving in the rain. And then this is the outlet with all the gunk on it that was in there. Yeah, and yeah, they didn't hook up a ground wire on this, just the black and the white. Nothing was hooked up there at all. So if you're looking at something used and somebody's been doing some fixing up, you might want to look at the fixing up they were doing. Just got back from town and more supplies. Got water line, got copper tubing for the gas lines, power converter, water pump, powered roof vent. So combined with the fridge over there, water heater, furnace, power outlet, I can go to town getting all the systems put in place. Okay, maybe now we're gonna start. Well, we're getting ready for figuring out where everything goes and making sure it fits where I want it to, and planning out the wiring. So I've got the fridge. Since I've got it out, I figured I'd test fire it first because I guess they're the most temperamental of all the appliances, and it's a lot easier to bench test it than in the trailer. I was gonna put the power center and battery here, but my concern with this was the amount of wire I was gonna have to run, because the 110 volt was gonna come in somewhere on this side of the trailer, and with the amount of room that water tank is taking, I can't bring it in over there. And then, so we're bringing it in here. So I've got a nice spot for the power converter and power centers with the breakers and the fuses there. There's another lithium battery because I've got them for other trailers, so I'm just using them all over the place. Right now, using this one to see where it's gonna fit. And then the furnace is gonna go there, and it's gonna sit out that much. Now, there's going to be a drawer front on there, which eats up a quarter of an inch, but it's going to sit out that much. And there's really nowhere to put it where it's not going to sit out, because the cabinets on both sides of the trailer are the same depth. The only other place I could put it would be there, and then I would lose that drawer in that dinette bench. The other problem is the hot air would be blowing against this wall, unless I put it right here. But I think I'm gonna have a height problem. Maybe not. Well, I'm glad we talked through this. I'll give you an update. What I've done here is I put the drawer in place, and now I've put support underneath the furnace so it was sitting level in that cabinet. And that furnace is not sticking out any farther than it would be anywhere else, because that, we'll call it a grate, it's plastic. It's in as far as it would go against any cabinet, no matter what the depth. So it doesn't matter where I put it, that's how far it's sticking out. And so I think this is where it's going. I referred to the instructions, because when all else fails, do that. And this has to stick out, the furnace has to stick out past the cabinet 1 3/8 inches. So there is 1 3/8, and if you butt it up there, it's 1 1/2. So all I could gain by moving this is 1/8 of an inch. So this is the location. It's to me ideal because it's the center of the trailer. It's easy to run the propane line there, easy to run the 12 volt there, and it gives me a lot of options to run the thermostat wires as well. So that's where it's going. All this shelving, wood, etc. came out of this old cabinet. This is where the previous fridge was, and then from here up was a cupboard. So the original fridge came to here. The second fridge they put in came into somewhere in here. Our fridge is going to come to here, so then we'll make another cabinet or something above it. I've got to open up that roof a little more for the new roof fridge vent, because it requires a bigger opening. And then we'll start making this box a little smaller to meet the specifications for the installation. One other thing I've noticed when taking these cupboards apart, I've been commenting about how poor some things are put together, but if you look right there, that was the cross member for the base of the cupboard, and it's a dowel. That's not the first one I've run across. So it's, you either got to dismantle the whole cabinet, get it out of there, or get a saw in there, and fortunately I've got a thin saw I can use. Time to test the fridge. That's Celsius, 3 degrees, -2 there, +2 there. It's working. Started 12 volt wiring, and look at my handy dandy little holder for the spools of wire, so they'll just roll off there quite nice. Very high tech. So the route of the wiring to get it to where it's going is through the cabinet here. Once I've got all the wires run, I'll put them in a nice neat cable and attach it and secure it and make it all pretty. And it goes up through here, and then into the bathroom wall. And then this is where the, as you can see, the plumbing stack is, and it's behind the shower pan. So it goes up through the ceiling, and we will show you where it goes through. Comes out the plumbing stack there, drilled some small holes in the rafters, and just along the ceiling, and then drilled a hole through the ceiling inside that front upper cabinet, and that will go to the first light and then continue on from there. This is how I plan things out. 12 volt diagram, 110 volt diagram. It's not an official schematic, it is in Kelly schematics. And so that did this so I wouldn't forget any items or think about them at the last minute and then having to run a bunch of extra wire or a bunch of extra work. Also, what I did on another piece of paper was for each one of these circuits, I figured out how much wire I needed and of course what else going on each circuit. Just keep it nice and simple, and keeps me organized, and maybe it'll go faster. So we made progress today. Got a bunch of wiring done. Just about all the 12 volt wiring is run in here for all the lights, the furnace, the fridge, the 12 volt outlets, the power fan. The only thing I got left to do is the wiring for the thermostat for the furnace. Good morning. I had started the 12 volt wiring because I ran out of materials to finish the boxing for the fridge compartment and replacing the floor where the water heater is going to go. I now have those materials, so I'm going to take a break from the 12 volt wiring, which is almost complete. And the next step would be the 110 volt wiring. But now I've got the materials, I'll finish that fridge compartment and the water heater where there's no floor. So that's what we're doing today. I'll start this by removing this propane line, disconnecting it to below the floor, and then smoothing out the edges on this opening. Then the other thing I got to do is that bolt right there is attached to the frame. So once I got the floor in, I'll replace that bolt. That's what ties the body down to the frame. Don't want that coming off. So let's get started. Here's why we need to replace that bolt. Trying to get the camera to focus. It is not holding much down. I cut the boards for the opening below the water heater. I have to use two because it's a little over 1 inch and I don't have plywood that thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to laminate these two pieces of wood together. This one here, this is the underside, so it's going to be exposed to the ground. It's right behind the wheel, so I've got it all waterproofed, and I've got the edges of both waterproof, so that will be more protection than it had before. While I was waiting for the stain to dry on the floor material for the water heater compartment, I got to work on filling the hole in the floor where the pressure tank was for the water system previously. So I knocked the old floor out of there because it was just this stuff, which I guess that's the insulation for the floor. And I built some supports to help hold the floor. So I'm going to stain that up to give it some waterproofing, both the flooring and the framing you can see that's exposed here. So working on several little points of this trailer at the same time. Well, thanks for joining me on this video. We got a lot done, and we're just going to keep moving forward in the next video, getting components put in, compartments built, more wiring done, getting closer to putting the power converter and power center in, and maybe finishing up that water tank. And I like my hair today. That's toque hair. We had a big snowstorm and I was out cleaning snow. Took a break from working on the trailer. So see you in the next video.